Earlier this month, I participated in an art exhibition in Madrid. It was an art fair with a variety of new, emerging and experienced artists. A couple of weeks ago, I hosted a wine and paint event for people to color in illustrated pages from my coloring book that I published last year. For the art fair, I created the biggest paintings that I've made so far, and I got them all framed and varnished in time, thankfully. I processed and edited the videos for the channel, together with catering to all of my responsibilities, nurturing my relationships, taking care of my health and physical space, and at some point it just got a bit too much.
Big way of learning, how to invest in those things. It shows there's so much of their identity and their culture in dialogue, like serving people and be like, I normally don't like lamb, but have you had it like this?
Lately, I've been experiencing a burnout. Many of you probably know what this means, but let's just check out the definition. Burnout is the state of complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. If you're experiencing a burnout, you may notice it's difficult to engage in activities you normally find meaningful. You may no longer care about the things that are important to you or experience an increasing sense of hopelessness. Last week, I spent several days laying down. I would try to start the day in a productive way, but quickly ended up laying down out of exhaustion. Not from things I had done that day, but by the long list of things I had been doing up until that point. And the overwhelming list of things I knew I had in store for myself. And I was just there in the middle of it all. Of something that felt exciting and challenging, but also overwhelming and chaotic. And it's the most frustrating thing to feel like you have loads of creative ideas that you would like to start on, to continue on, but that you're not able to actually work on. I post these videos every other week alongside actually spending hours of creating the art, getting the materials, filming the content, thinking about what angles I need to have for the different shots. And this along with every other task and responsibilities I have in my life. Last week I tried to create a video, but it felt wrong. I felt like I was just saying things to have something to say. And although the intention was there, it wasn't cohesive. It didn't give a clear goal or vision. In the end, it was just a bunch of words put together. For me, if the video really doesn't feel right, then I'm not posting it. It's not even about the quality or it being absolutely perfect. If I feel like it's not supposed to be out there, I will not bring it out into this world. Sometimes you just have to use your intuition to guide you. If the video doesn't flow to me, if there's no sense of flow at all throughout the process, then it feels forced, and even posting it will be forced. Like this video that you see in front of you now, this flowed. The words naturally came to me because there were things that needed to be said. I felt like I got visions of how I wanted to express the ideas, and they just naturally came. I was working with the flow, not forcing things. Obviously, not every single piece of work is filled with this sense of flow, of this force, of this thing that just wants to be expressed. But there needs to be some sense of drive behind it. Experiencing a burnout teaches you that however you're doing things in life right now, it's not working. And some change has to happen for things to be sustainable for the long run. For me personally, I feel like I kept putting things on my plate and it was just about enough for me to deal. But the second anything more popped up during the process, it became an overload. It was like a glass that was already full and the single drop could make everything crash. There was no more space to fill. One thing that I'm learning to do is to listen to myself and my own energy levels, so that I don't overwork myself, so that I'm not stressed about how we'll be able to do everything, especially when it's not necessary. Sometimes you need to strip down ideas for them to become realistic. At times, I would feel this overwhelming stress, as if the fight or flight response was activated and anxiety would fill the body. I would always try to find the best way to make things happen. And then if one thing wouldn't go as planned, then the anxiety would be activated again. Because I would analyze how I could make that happen, how I could fit it all together. And yes, sometimes you do need periods of higher intensity and less flexibility, but it shouldn't become a way of living, because I do believe we are meant to live a life with space for flexibility and spontaneity. For me, it would sometimes feel like as if you're in a super crowded space with almost no place to move. You need that negative space to breathe in between, to not get suffocated by everything around you. You need that empty space to just be. It's like when you're in a crowded concert. You can do that for a couple of hours, but you couldn't live like that all the time. Eventually, you'll have to get out for some air. I had this book on my list for a while. It's called Essentialism. And during this period, it was calling my name. And if you're anything like me, it's perfect. Somebody who always has a to-do list that keeps growing, not shrinking. This graph came up in a book when it talks about how we can easily get spread thin by doing too many things. And in the end, we could have gone so much further if we just put our focus into one thing, or at least fewer things in general. And even within a specific theme, you can use this graph by choosing to hone in on very specific tasks that are important and significant. Because normally we stay busy to be busy, to feel like we are productive. But there are normally very few amount of tasks that actually drive most of the progress forward. And the rest is merely distraction sometimes. Often it can get easy to get lost in these distractions because they might be easier to do. They might be more effortless, but in reality, not as effective. You can spend the same amount of time doing something else and it would be more effective. It would actually contribute to a lot more of your goals. Really looking closely to your priorities is the first thing to do, and then choose what you want to get rid of, and understanding that you do have a choice, which is the thing that people often forget. That we can actually choose to create the habit of taking the time to reevaluate if things are worth the time or not. And often there are several things that might seem like they have the same value, but it doesn't mean that everything needs to get done. You need to make it a habit to leave some stuff behind. That's where I went wrong. I was trying to do it all And we're often sold the idea that we can have it all and we can get everything done. You just have to be productive enough. But realistically, it's not true. To get the important things done, we naturally have to say no to things. For me, I would have endless things to do. And as long as I would be busy, I would feel like I was getting things done. And then when one thing was done, 2 new, 3 new, 5 new things would be added to the list. When you're constantly in the act of doing and not thinking, you can get stuck in a rat race that is never ending. Not getting caught up in too many things is really a way of being. And it's a way of being that I am still learning. So I'll let you know how it goes. I still have to finish the book, so I still have a lot to learn and a lot more to practice. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe to see my future videos. I hope I see you next time.